we need to reimagine the future? The pandemic has provided an opportunity to stop and reflect on humanity's direction of travel.
But how can we find the energy and the inspiration to build back better?
How to connect with people already creating pockets of a better future?
To explore these questions, we're talking to women in Africa, Asia Pacific, Latin America, and the Middle East about their reimagined future post-COVID.
We want to find out how they are pursuing a fair society in balance with our planetary boundaries and the difference being a woman makes.
Today, we're speaking with Hamza Mansour from Egypt, a filmmaker and adventurer who tells authentic stories about nature, different cultures, and the human connection to Earth.
Hi Hamza, welcome to our series, Learning from Women to Reimagine the Future.
Could you tell us about who you are and what you do?
My name is Hamza Mansour. I'm from Egypt. I've worked in many different jobs, starting from retail to working in huge corporates. I didn't feel like I'm adding anything to the world, so I decided to quit, and I did. And after that, I started working in an adventure travel company. I loved my job. The problem was my job was very demanding. I decided to leave my job that I love and start moving into filmmaking full-time. Now I own a media production company, which is called Blue Camel Media, and we specialize in producing documentaries and commercial films and some photography services. We try to search for stories that we believe are worthy, stories that we believe people need to listen to and people need to know about. And then we try to find ways to tell those stories by the people involved in the stories. So basically give a stage to people who are underrepresented in a way, to people who otherwise don't get several opportunities to tell their stories, in hope that when we do this, people would connect to the story on a human level to understand that we're all human.
What are you passionate about the work you do?
I love that my work gives me the opportunity to meet with amazing people. The places I get to see, just being in nature, it's really a blessing. I'm so happy, and that I'm so happy and grateful that I appreciate nature and that I love it and that I'm able to actually be there, because it's doing something you absolutely love and trying to kind of make a change through telling stories. So it is what I love to do.
Does it make any difference being a woman? If so, how would you describe such difference?
I hate to say it in this way, and as much as I love being a woman, but it's kind of unlucky being a woman in such kind of atmospheres. It's hard. The daily frustrations and the daily going through this while getting married, for example, and being subjected to some of the personal laws in Egypt and divorce laws, and it's very difficult to be a woman. I was the first woman to go on a solo cycling trip inside Egypt. I believe that we learn the most about ourselves in nature and on adventures and when we challenge ourselves. The only time I felt that I had a challenge as a woman was a psychological one. It was on the first day. I had been cycling for perhaps 9 hours at the time, and I took a wrong road. And at the time it was maybe 8 p.m. It was late and the road was very dark. And while turning back, I took this kind of mini tunnel in the road, and I ended up in a place where there were no less than perhaps 30 trucks parked back to back. And then one of the trucks was passing by me, and he said, "What are you doing here?" in a loud voice. And perhaps at this time I was worried, honestly, not because anyone said or did anything. No one did this. But yeah, it's a worry that I think every woman can relate to in a way. You know how it can go wrong. And for a second it hits you, okay, this can go really badly. No one will ever know where I am. My cell phone does not have coverage right now. No one knows I took this turn. And there are 30 trucks right here in the middle of the desert. So I was kind of concerned, and I hated that I had this fear, because I know that my male cyclist friends perhaps would be scared about getting robbed or something like this, but not the same kind of fear. I generally don't feel scared easily, but I understand that women would be more scared to do this. And this in itself is a challenge that men don't have to go through it. Yes, they get scared. They get scared about camping in the middle of the desert and actually of wild animals. They get scared of being stolen and sometimes of actually getting hurt. But there's an extra fear for women, honestly.
Imagine that COVID has opened a portal to a better future and that we'll cross this portal to the other side. What do you see, hear, and feel once you get there?
Equality for all human beings. This pandemic has helped everyone see how connected we are as human beings. I hope the future will hold a decent human life, a decent life for all human beings. Because it's very easy to isolate yourselves from people if you don't know them. And it's very easy to isolate yourself if you don't really understand them. And it's very easy to just say, in, I don't know, this country is just like this. And in that country, they're just oppressing whoever. And in that country, we don't like it because they're too religious. And we don't like this one because it's too liberal. And we just putting people in boxes. And it makes it so easy to ignore that those are human beings. But representation helps, even within the same community, even within the same country. So, for example, in the past month, some sort of social media campaign has been going on in Egypt to combat harassment against women. And a lot of women are just speaking up online about what it's like to live as a woman in Egypt. And it is hard. And at first, a lot of women thought that this is an exaggeration. She's making it up. She must have done something. She must have provoked it. But then when a lot of people talk and there's enough representation, they start basically just believing that it is that hard. But if no one's talking and there's no representation of the problem, there's no representation of women, even our circles, some of them wouldn't believe it because they're oblivious to it and they don't live as women. So I think representation matters in that sense.
If you had a magic wand, which 3 aspects of a reimagined future would you bring to fruition?
Start with all countries being secular states that basically have proper human rights laws that are implemented and they're not corrupt and that they actually follow the law. I think I start with this. Change education to actually be more inclusive. People are not the people who look like you. People are human beings, regardless of what they look like. And everyone has rights and everyone is entitled to the same kind of rights and the same kind of treatment that they get. And this is how we get to a better place. People stop thinking about themselves only, but themselves within a kind of a bigger circle. Something else is that I don't believe human beings will survive if the earth does not survive. That won't happen.
How does your vision and work contribute to this reimagined future?
Art is important. Art is very important because, for example, I've seen people who didn't honestly like gays in the past. And then we sat down and we watched a movie like Milk. And then they'd empathize with the character and love him and have an understanding this is a human being who goes through the same things that he does. And then they'd actually stop this kind of just judgment. I hope that I can tell enough stories that people would see and connect to people who they didn't think they were like them before watching the movies. And in the other way, when I do adventure trips and I try to introduce people to the outdoors, I hope it makes people connected to the world and understand, because a big part of the trip is actually talking about conservation and how we do the trip and what we do and what we don't do and why we don't do it and why that's important.
With whom do you want to collaborate to make a reimagined future happen?
Certain filmmakers, and I feel that I connect to them. I've never met them, but the way they talk about their work and the way they tell stories is something that I feel so connected to. Perhaps one day meet one of those people who actually we look up to and whose work we actually admire and we love the sense of they're conscious, basically, and their honesty and their integrity. This would be amazing because not only you're connecting with the person, but perhaps learning. And when you learn, you'll be able to do more and create more and maybe give back more in a way.
What are the 3 greatest gifts you can give to people around you to move towards this reimagined future?
What's the thing that you want to be remembered for the most? I think it's empathy. Because I believe that empathy is very powerful beyond what actually we're taught that it is. We're taught to feel for other people because it's something good to do to other people, but I don't believe it's only that. I believe it's the way to connect to other human beings. It's the way to understand that we're not isolated. It's the way to understand that you're not just a random human being living in the world on your own, but your actions and everything you do affects other people. It's the way to feel less alone. It's a way to feel more connected. I hope that my work, in a way, would make people more empathetic towards perhaps differences, empathetic towards other people, towards even themselves. And I think things like being genuine, people feel it. If you're genuine, they feel. So genuinely caring about people and being just genuine with them, giving them time, because not a lot of people actually want to give time. Perhaps money, yes, it's easier, but time is very precious. So time and honesty.
What's the dream you have for the future that if it came true, your work on Earth would be complete?
I don't think anyone's work on the planet is done, because if I'm living for a reason, and I need to find that reason and just work towards it. Otherwise, I'm just wasting oxygen, I guess. So I don't think I'll ever feel like my work is done in any way or form. But I would feel glad if basically I make a film and someone would tell me that they connected with it, or it made them see things in a different way. I'd feel very happy. I'd feel the happiest person.
What image comes to you if you close your eyes and imagine the future you would like to happen?
Honestly, a building filled of happy homes with gardens where people are able to just be, people who look genuinely happy, not seeing people who are very sick in the street and very poor and very unable to go on. And perhaps this garden will have like circles of people sitting around, and you can see just by looking at them that they come from very, very, very different backgrounds. That people are accepting and people are happy. They're not weighed down by life. They're connected to earth, to themselves. They have secured homes, and yeah.
What message would you give to others working to make the future a better place for people and the planet?
Whether we like it or not, everyone's changing the world. Every single day, we're all changing it. It's a matter of changing it to what? And are you doing it intentionally or not? I feel like I always try, and it is what you need to do, to just always consistently try. Whatever it is that you're trying to do, just try to be better, try to be a better human being, try to give more, try to be more understanding, whatever it is. Sometimes we get overwhelmed with the bad in the world that we feel it's pointless and that trying is pointless. But it's also important to understand that you don't move mountains by moving mountains. You move mountains by moving one rock at a mountain. This is how things change, and this is how the world will change. So all they have to do is to influence or affect one human being at a time. Break it down into steps and just focus on the one right in front of you. It's the same thing with trips. You take a person who tells you, I'll never be able to climb mountains. And if I'm sure that this person is physically able, I talk with them and I convince them to go on the trip, basically. If they want to try it, if they're open to it. And then you see that person who's very shaky and who starts basically shaking on the very first steps, telling you can't do it. And then they climb the whole mountain and they feel the gladdest person. They feel like they're standing on the top of the earth. And that's amazing. That makes me feel like today I've done something good, because that person will take this concept of walking one step at a time and not caring about what's ahead and what's below and what's in front of you, just this step, and maybe apply it in life, and it is how they'll go forward.